Warwick here from Beware, and I just thought I'd like to share something with you personally that got me into, helped me get into beekeeping when I first started out. And I know a lot of people when they first start out struggle with, with how to afford all the equipment and how to upgrade and how to grow the apiary and stuff like that. And when I started out with beekeeping, I figured out very quickly that my cash that I had in hand that I wanted to use for my hobby and growing it wasn't going to last very long. I managed to get my bee suit, I managed to get a couple of hives, like a starter kit basically, which is what we have available now in the shop for people. And I went from there to essentially having run out of cash. So I started asking people at the time, some very clever people that were in beekeeping for a long time, pretty much at least as long as I've been now, back in 2004, Hans Blokker and Barry, and unfortunately sadly no longer with us. But with the struggle of wanting to build my apiary and my hobby, buy more hives, buy the extractors I needed to get extra income. I was doing this part-time like most of you guys are doing, and so it was problematic for me having a young family to try and get extra, another job and whatever the case is, while also doing the beekeeping. So I figured I could do some stuff on the weekends and in the evenings, and it came to being that I could save bees from termination, which is done a lot of times by people doing pest control removals. They just a lot of the time they tend to terminate the colonies instead of actually save them, and they still charge the same amount, and you've got dead bees, and then the customer's unhappy because generally speaking they want to have the bees saved, and then the pest controller is happy because he's done the job, and he's gotten paid, and it's taken a very short space of time. But essentially, when I started out with bee removals, I learned from Hans and Barry how to do this in a safe way, so that you could use a bee vac system that collects the bees in a closed environment, so that they don't get hurt or damaged, and that they don't go wild and aggressive and start stinging people. And after that, it made a lot of sense to continue doing this, and I started charging a fee. Obviously, I got that from whenever I did a call out, and then I used that money 3 to 4 times a week. I'd get a bee removal call out, and I would go and use that same money when I got bees to go buy hives. I'd go buy hives or build my own hives, whatever the case is at the time. And we're talking 2004, 2005. And that's how I funded my hobby, and that's how I funded growing my apiary. I got more hives. I was able to afford an extractor. I did this for about 18 months in the beginning, and even was able to take my family to Cape Town for holiday that following December, which all came out of bee removals that I did. So it's a pretty phenomenal way to be able to earn some extra income. You're saving bees from termination, and you're able to actually get even more things from the bees aside from getting some cash in hand that you can use either to carry on building your apiary, or you could use it in a way that you're able to go on holiday, or you can do other things. But I also had a lot of learning curve, right? I ended up at one stage. This was about probably about 3, 4 months into the thing. I ended up getting to a call out where a customer was telling me that, yeah, the bees have stung them once or twice, but they haven't been there very long, and it was really hard to. These guys were in Pomona area, and arrived on the scene, and within about 5 minutes of talking to the customer, the first bee stung him on the face, and then stung me on the leg. So a little bit dangerous, and ended up actually that bee removal was quite crazy, and I ended up spending $2,000 as being in hospital for cortisol and adrenalin shots, and was a bit nasty. But I had it was an interesting learning curve, and something that I wouldn't want to repeat, or anybody else to repeat at that time. And 2,000 rand later was quite an expensive lesson, but nonetheless. If you're getting into bee removals, guys, it can fund your beekeeping apiary, it can fund your hobby. Not only that, but not only do you actually get cash when you're doing this, but now you also have a colony that you can use. So either you can decide to keep this colony and put it to your own use, like I used to do, or you could sell the colony on to other beekeepers that are looking for new colonies, as long as you got the queen, okay? And that's an extra income. So not only do you get money for the call out, now you're getting money for the bee colony as well, And then there's other options as well, things like the honey that you could get. Now, you don't get honey all the time when you're doing a bee removal, but when you do get honey from a bee removal, you just need to clean it, and you could repackage that as a, as long as you didn't, obviously you don't want to be using any chemicals, and you don't want the customer to be using any chemicals either at this point, which you do need to find out if they did. But you could take that comb and package it as comb honey and sell it at a really good price, and you get more money from that as well. So not only can you get income directly from the call out, but now you're getting potential income from the colony itself if you decide to sell that colony, or indirectly you can keep it, and then over time you will reap more benefit out of that, keeping that colony. And the third thing is selling the honey that you could get out of that bee removal. So it's a trifecta, 3 times you could get money from a single bee removal, which is pretty impressive. And obviously there's a couple of other things that you could do with the bees once you keep them. You can do pollination services as a business, which we are consulting on at the moment, and or you can just do honey production with more beehives in your apiary, which is phenomenal. And then you could also, as I say, decide to sell the queen or sell the hive, etc., as a combination thing, and build your apiary over time through bee removals. So it's important. I needed to get some special PPE. I needed to get a bee vac. That's extra specialist equipment. And with the knowledge that I got from guys like Hans Blokker 2004 and Barry, we were able to build these things and design our own. And then we were also able to get specialist treatment, specialist methods that we were able to use, where we were putting things together, like for working at heights. How do you take hives down from owl boxes down from trees, and how do you get the bees out of chimneys? All these kind of things, specialist access, working at height, all of that stuff needed to be covered. And so over years and years of doing this, we've decided, how do we help others? How do we help you guys be able to do this? So essentially what we've done is we've been running bee removal courses that safely relocate colonies, and also show you how you can manage the bees after the fact, how you make sure you get the queen, and how you can utilize all the other bits and pieces that come out of the hive at the time when you do a bee removal. So if you're interested in something like this, guys, check below in the comments. And thanks for joining me on this little live here, and I'm looking forward to do more of these. And happy beekeeping on wherever you are, guys, and see you on the bee side. Ciao. If you have any questions, by the way, post them in the comments below this video, all right? See you guys out there. Buzz, buzz.